Hello everyone, welcome to your partner in education, Agile Rank Mate. Today, in this episode of Know Your NMAT, we're going to be looking at some sample questions of logical reasoning which have been asked in the NMAT examination. So, in NMAT, we are looking at questions on how to solve, laterally as well as effectively with critical thinking. So therefore, let's look at a question today. Now this particular question has directions for 4 sub-questions, and the directions goes as this. Go through the given graphs and solve the questions based on it. So we have a graph on automobile production trends and another graph on automobile domestic sales trends. Both of these are based from the years 2004 to 2008, and they involve passenger vehicles, commercial vehicles, and 3-wheelers. So, how do we solve this question? Well, for starters, we're going to be looking at the questions themselves. So the first question goes, which of the following years exhibits the highest percentage decrease over the preceding year in automobile production? Second question is to assume that whatever was not sold domestically was exported, which year registered max growth in exports of automobiles. Question number 3, if the ratio of the domestic sale price of a commercial vehicle, a passenger vehicle, and a 3-wheeler is 5:3:2, then approximately what year of earnings is contributed by the commercial vehicle segment to the overall earnings from domestic sales during the period of 2004 to 2008? And the final question is the ratio between absolute increase in domestic sales over the preceding year and absolute increase in production over the preceding year is highest during which year? Now, we've looked at the 4 questions that we need to answer, so now let's look at the directions one more time. We need to go through the given graphs and solve the questions based on it. Now, we can't solve the questions by just looking at the graph. We need to tabulate these results in order to get the numbers that we want. So we have production trends for 2004 to 2008 and domestic sales trends from 2004 to 2008. So let's start off with production trends. So we're going to draw a table, and the columns would represent the years 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, and the rows would represent the category of vehicles. So passenger vehicles, commercial vehicles, 3-wheelers, and then we look at total. So this is how the graph's going to look like. So in 2004, the passenger vehicles was 800, the commercial vehicles was 500, and the 3-wheelers were 475. So that's the number of vehicles that they had. So we're going to be looking at 800, 500, and 475. So that goes into a total of 1,775. Similarly, we can look for every year in the production graph and then find out the numbers on the three categories and then add up to the total. So for 2005, it goes like this: 700, 550, and 450, with a total of 1,700. For 2006, it's 1,025, 675, 475. That gives you a total of 2,175. For 2007, it's 1,200, 650, and 475, which gives you a total of 2,325. And the final year is 2008. You get 1,250, 600, and 350, which gives you a total of 2,200. So this is the graph for production trends. Now let's look at the graph for domestic sales trends and create a table for it. So domestic sales trends. So here we're going to be looking at the years 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, and we'll also add a total because one of the questions requires it. And for the and on the first row we will have passenger, commercial, three-wheelers, and total. So if you look at it for 2004, the number of passenger vehicles were 700, number of commercial vehicles were 450, and the number of three-wheelers were 300. So we're going to interpret the graph as such, and we're going to fill it that way. So you get 700, 450, and 300 to get a total of 1450 sold. So we can do that for all of the graphs, all of the years here. So that's how we're going to be writing down these numbers. For 2005, it's 675, 500, and 350 respectively. That gives us a total of 1525. We have, for 2006, the numbers are 900, 625, and 400 respectively, which gives us a total of 1925. For 2007, it'll be 1050, 600, and 375, which gives us a total of 2025. And for 2008, it's 975, 550, and 350, which gives us a total of 1875. Now the total number of passenger vehicles sold is 4,300. You just need to add that. So 5 gives you 10 here. So 7, 7, 14, 5. 5, 19, let's do 21. So you get a total of 4,300. Similarly, if you add all of this, you'll get a total of 2725. And for three-wheelers, the total number would be 1775. So that's the two tables that we have, one table for production trends and the other table for domestic sales trends. Now let's look at the first question. Which of the following years exhibits the highest percentage decrease over the preceding year in automobile production? So we need to look at the production table and find out the highest percentage decrease. Now, percentage decrease here means that the next year, so for example, if 2004 was 20 cars, and if 2005 had 15 cars, then there would be a percentage decrease. So we need to find out the values for this particular question. So which of these years exhibited the highest percentage decrease? So if you look at production trends, if you look at 2005, the total is 1,700, while 2004 had 1,775. So this is a major decrease. Similarly, if you look at 2008, you can see that the total number of vehicles sold were 2,200, which is less than that of 2007. So again, that involves a major decrease. So now that we know which of the years have a decrease in percentage of vehicles produced, we are going to focus on those years and find the percentage and look at which of those percentages is higher in the negative side. So highest percentage decrease in 2005 over 2004, the numbers would be 1,700 in 2005, 1,775 in 2004, and the denominator would be the number of cars produced in the previous year, which is 1,775. And since we have to convert it into percentages, we multiply the whole fraction by 100. So 1,700 minus 1,775 gives you negative of 75, and the denominator is still 1,775. over 100. So what we have to do is basically 75 over 1775. So if we do that here, 75 times 100 is 7,500. 75 times 1775. So that will be 0 point. Then we add 750. Still not big enough. We add another 0. So 7,500. Now 1775 times 4 would give us 7,100. So you get a balance of 400. So it's not enough. We add another 0 for the next decimal point. So here we have 1775 times 2. So that gives you 3550, which is equal to, now the difference between 4,000 and 3550 is equal to 450, and it continues so on. So therefore, the percentage decrease in 2005 over 2004 is minus 4.2 percentage, because it's 0.042 multiplied by 100 gives you minus 4.2 percentage. So minus 4.2 percentage turns out to be our answer for 2005 over 2004. And the reason by negative, because we're using the formula for percentage increase. So a negative value here would mean that it's percentage decrease. Now let's look at 2008 over 2007. So over here in 2008, the total number of vehicles sold were 2,200, and the total number of vehicles sold in 2007 was 2,325. So it's 2,200 minus 2,325 over the vehicles in 2007, not 2008. So that will be 2,325 multiplied by 100. So therefore what we get is minus of 125 over 2,325 times 100. So 125 over 2,325. So you get 0.0. So you have 12,500 over 2,325. This is where you can put in 5. So 2,325 times 5 gives you 25. 25. And then 2 times 5 is 10, plus 2 gives you 12. 3 times 5 is 15, gives you 16. 2 times 5 is 10. 10 plus 1 gives you 11. So 11,625 is the closest multiple that we have. So when you subtract it, you would get 875. And then when you add a 0 to it for the next decimal point, 2,325 times 3 gives you somewhere close to 7,000. So therefore we use that value here. So therefore 0.053 is the right value of the fraction. So when we multiply that by 100, we get minus 5.3%. So if you look at the percentage decrease in 2005 over 2004, it's negative 4.2%, whereas for 2008 over 2007, it's negative 5.3%. We need to find out the highest percentage decrease. That is between 2008 over 2007. So therefore, it's assigned to the year 2008. So option E, 2008, is the right option. Now, let's look at the next question. Assuming that whatever was not sold domestically was exported, which year registered maximum growth in exports of automobiles? So we haven't exactly made a table for exports, but we do know how to find out the data here. Because in the question it says if any car wasn't sold domestically, it was exported. So the export data is equal to production data minus domestic sales data. So let's create a table for exports. So that's 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008 on the column side, and on the first row we have passenger, commercial, three-wheelers, and total. So over here we will be looking at the difference between production value and the domestic sales value. So for 2004, passenger vehicles 800 minus 700, that gives you 100. Similarly for commercial, it's 500 minus 450, so that gives you 50. And for three-wheelers, it's 475 minus 300, which gives you 175. So this is how we calculate the value for export data. Now, when we add these together, 150 plus 175 gives you 325. So that's the total export. Now we're going to do this for every year. For 2005, the values are 25, 50, and 100. So the total exports is 175. Next, we have 2006, where you have 125 passenger vehicles, 50 commercial vehicles, and 75 three-wheelers exported. So we get a total of 250. And then if we look at 2007, we get 150, 50, and 100. So you get 300 as a total. For 2008, it's 275, 50, and 0. Because if you look at three-wheelers, production is 350, and domestic sales are 350. So nothing was exported. So therefore, we get a total of 325. Now, we need to find out which year registered max growth in exports of automobiles. So you can calculate percentages, or you can calculate based on number of units sold. Now, 2005 had a decrease in number of units sold. So therefore, 2004, 2005 is incorrect. If you look at 2006, there is an increase of 75 from the previous value. So 175 plus 75 gives you 250. And from 300 to 250, we have an increase of 50. From 325 to 300, we have an increase of 25. So as you can see, the greatest increase was between 2005 and 2006. So by 2006, there was an increase of 75 more automobiles. So therefore, option C, 2006, turns out to be the right option. So 2006 registered maximum growth in exports of automobiles when we consider that whatever was not sold domestically was exported. So therefore, option C, 2006, is the right option. Now let's look at question number 3. If the ratio of the domestic sale price of a commercial vehicle, a passenger vehicle, and a three-wheeler is 5:3:2, then approximately what percent of earnings is contributed by commercial vehicle segment to overall earnings from domestic sales during 2004 to 2008? So commercial vehicles 5x, passenger vehicles 3x, and three-wheelers 2x. Now this is based on domestic sales. So the price is highest for commercial vehicles, followed by passenger vehicles, and then at the end you have three-wheelers. Now, in order to solve this question, we need to find out the total passenger vehicles, total commercial vehicles, and total three-wheelers. And the period is 2004 to 2008, so basically we're taking the total passenger vehicles sold, total commercial vehicles sold, and total three-wheelers sold. If you look at our table for domestic sales trends, you see that passenger vehicles were 4,300, commercial vehicles were sold at 2,725 pieces, and 1,775 three-wheelers were sold. So let's write down those values: 4,300, 2,725, and finally for three-wheelers it's 1,775. Now if you remember, commercial vehicles were more expensive. According to the ratio, it's 5. So what we're going to do in order to find the percent growth, so to find the percent share of commercial earnings, what we do is we multiply the number of units sold by the share of the sale price. So basically, since we're looking at for commercial vehicles, so 2,725 times its number in the ratio, which is 5, over the total earnings, which in this case is 2,725 times 5 plus 4,300 times 3 plus 1,775 times 2. And all of that, and this whole fraction is multiplied by 100 for percentage values. So 2,725 times 5. 5 5s are 25. 2 5s are 10, 12. 7 5s are 35 plus 1, 36. 2 5s are 10 plus 3 is 13. So 13625 is the numerator, and a part of the denominator is 13625. Plus, next we have 4,300 times 3. So basically that's 43 multiplied by 3. 3 3s are 9, 4 3s are 12. So that's 12900. And finally for 1775 times 2 gives you 3550. We've already tackled that in one of the earlier questions. So the total denominator would be 570. If you look at it, it's now if you look at that last value, you get well, 20. So there's a 2 over here. 3 2s 5, 2 3s 5. So you get a 10. And then the last value would be 3. So 30,075 was the total earnings, and 13625 was the earnings, taken from the commercial segment. So this fraction is now multiplied by 100. So 13625 over 30,075. So if you look at it, 13's quite close to 15. But, that apart, when we do the actual math, 13,625 over 30,075. So you get 0 point, you add a 0 here, you get 136,250. So 30,000 times 4 gives you, 120,000, which is pretty close. So if you were to look at 30,075 times 4, the actual value would now be equal to 120,900, and the difference would come out to be 0, 5, 9, and then 5 and 1. So therefore 15950, so 0.4. So basically we would have somewhere between 41% and 49%, 40% and 49%. So therefore options A, B, and E are incorrect because they're outside that range. Now is it 45% or 47%? So we would need to multiply that here. So 30,000 times, 5 gives you 150,000. So if we were to take out the correct value for 30,075 times 5, that would give you 150,375. So that's still smaller than the value that we need to subtract it from. So 0.45 would be correct. So 45% would be the approximate value of the commercial segment when it comes to overall earnings of domestic sales. So therefore option C is the right option. Now let's look at the last question. We need to find the ratio between absolute increase in domestic sales and absolute increase in production over the preceding year. So how do we do that? Well, for starters, we will need to look at which years have an increase in domestic sales. So for that, let's go back to the graph. Now, if you look at 2005, there is an increase. If you look at 2006, there's an increase. If you look at 2007, there's also an increase. However, between 2008 and 2007, there was actually a decrease in the units sold domestically. And if we look at the production trends, 2005 is also a year where production decreased, and 2008 was where production decreased. So the 2 years that we need to focus on are actually 2006 and 2007. So we would take the total units here, and we would need to calculate for the question. So we're looking at 2006 and 2007. So we need to find out the ratio between absolute increase in domestic sales over the preceding year and absolute increase in production over the preceding year is highest during which year. So the 2 years that we're looking at are 2006 and 2007. All the other options would now be incorrect. So if you look at 2006, let's look at domestic sales. In 2006, we had 1,925 units sold. The preceding year had 1,525 units sold. So therefore, the absolute increase in domestic sales would be 400. In the denominator, we're looking at the absolute increase in production. For 2006, it's 2,175, and for 2005, it's 1,700. So basically, you have 475 as the absolute increase in production. Now let's look at 2007. In 2007, the domestic sales trend was like this. You had 2025 units sold in 2007 and 1925 units sold in 2006. So there is an absolute increase of 100. And if you look at the production trends, 2007 had 2325 units sold, and 2006 had 2175 units sold. So you had 150 units which constitute the absolute increase. Now 100 over 150 is similar to 2 over 3, so therefore the ratio here is 0.67. Now for 400 over 475, we would need to calculate it. So you have 4,000. 475 times 8 would give us 56, 59. 56 plus 4, so that basically it's 60. And then 4 8s are 32, plus 6 is 38. So 3,800. So you get a 200. And so basically we got a value of 0.8. Now that's not the entire ratio, but we do know that the ratio for 2006 is actually much greater than that of 2007, because 2007 is 0.67%, that's 2/3, while 2006 actually had a value that's pretty close to 4/5. So 0.8 is a higher ratio than that of 0.67, so therefore 2006 is the right option. The ratio between absolute increase in domestic sales and absolute increase in production over the preceding year is highest during which of the years? And the right answer is 2006. So that concludes this episode of Know Your NMAT. We hope you found this episode interesting. For more of our useful and interesting content, don't forget to subscribe to Agile Rank Mate, your partner in education. If you want to get the latest updates from our channel, then please don't forget to hit the bell icon present down below. So until the next episode, take care, stay alert, bye-bye for now.